Welcome to Soccer Morning. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Friday. Man, I'm glad it's Friday. Welcome into a big show. We will cover pretty much anything you want to cover soccer-wise today. The reason we're here on the air every Monday through Friday is to inform and inquire and all of those high-minded things, but also to have a little fun. Be stupid on occasion. We make some jokes. We can have a good time. Don't get drunk in the morning, but if you wanted to, get the spirit of a hangout at the bar, the pub, that's kind of what we're doing. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. Today's show is going to be all about you. We've got the phone lines open in just a little bit at 646-832-3909. Don't call it now. Write it down now, 646-832-3909. 3909, because anything that's on your mind is open, fair game today. That includes some of this news, which we'll get to right now. I've got things that we can talk about, starting with the Europa League. Yesterday in said Europa League, Liverpool down Manchester United 2-0 at Anfield. Daniel Sturridge scoring a penalty after 20 minutes to give Liverpool a lead. A bit of a questionable call, perhaps Memphis Depay being whistled for the foul that may or may not have been in the box. Here's the thing. Watching that game, what a brilliant atmosphere at Anfield. Delivered, very much felt like one of those classic European nights at that ground. But after the penalty, I did not see a good replay. We didn't go back to the moment and really get a good look at it, did we? I mean, maybe I'm missing something. I was sort of multitasking at the time. Anyway, Roberto Firmino added a second in the 73rd minute to give Liverpool a 2-0 lead. United keeper David De Gea, the lone bright spot for the visitors, as he made 6 saves, and now Manchester United has to turn that deficit over in the second leg. Marco Reus hit for 2 as Dortmund won 3-0 over Spurs in Germany, setting up a very difficult situation for Spurs when they go back home to White Hart Lane and face Dortmund. Villarreal went up 2-0 in their round of 16 tie with Bayer Leverkusen. Athletic Bilbao 1-0 lead over Valencia in their tie. And let me just pull up, if my internet wants to cooperate, Fenerbahce 1-0 over Braga, Sporting Braga. Let's see, Sparta Prague 1-1 with Lazio. And that's FC Basel and Sevilla playing to a goalless draw. Shakhtar Donetsk 3-1 over Anderlecht. MLS injuries for the weekend. Second week of the MLS season. Several names going to be missing this weekend due to injury. Bruce Arena has ruled out Giovanni Dos Santos and Dan Kennedy from their match against Colorado, the Galaxy's match against Colorado at Dick's Sporting Goods Park on Saturday. Frank Lampard remains questionable for NYCFC as he recovers from a calf strain that kept the clubs in Chicago. He will be a game-time decision. That's per some people on Twitter who would know. NYCFC hosts Toronto at Yankee Stadium on a nationally televised game on Sunday. Kaká will miss out for a second week in a row as Orlando City plays host to Chicago this weekend. Antonio Nocerino will be available, however, which is a boost for the Lions. In NASL news, let me start that over. In NASL news, Rayo OKC signs Giorgio Samaras. Yes, you know him, former Celtic man, Greek international. Samaras has decided to sign with the NASL club in Oklahoma City as they get ready to launch their existence. Samaras last played for Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia on loan from West Brom, where he basically did not play. Samaras played 7 years for Celtic. That's where he mostly made his name. He appeared more than 150 times for the Scottish Giants, scoring 48 goals over that stretch. In not completely unexpected news, Newcastle has officially sacked Steve McLaren. The club's statement reads, "We acknowledge that reaching this decision has taken a number of days and that this has caused uncertainty for everyone involved, in particular for Steve and the players, for which we apologize. However, we felt that this time was needed to ensure the right decisions were reached with the best interest of the club at heart." Newcastle's on the verge of signing former Real Madrid, Napoli, and Liverpool boss Rafa Benitez, who, per reports, is meeting with the board today. Newcastle right now sits 19th in the Premier League standings, so they are in the relegation zone, and they've got some serious issues to deal with coming up in the rest of the Premier League season. Just a handful of games, 10 games left to go for Newcastle. Less than 10 games, as a matter of fact. In the Barclays Premier League, this weekend, Norwich City hosting Manchester City. Manchester United, that one's postponed. Let's go to Stoke City and Southampton. Also, Bournemouth, Swansea. Sunderland hosting Everton. That one's postponed as well. So never mind. Those are the FA Cup game coming up this weekend is Everton versus Chelsea on Saturday. You have Spanish some Spanish La Liga games on Saturday as well, including Barcelona hosting Getafe. In Germany, Bayern Munich hosting Werder Bremen. Borussia Mönchengladbach hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. Hanover hosting Cologne. Numerous games across the continent. All right, that sets us up very nicely. Some things on our plate. There's always more. In fact, there's the discussion that's happening on Twitter right now, and I think Taylor Twellman just insulted me. Can I get a confirmation on that? Did Taylor Twellman just insult me? Let's take a break. I mean, I'm not worried about it, none, but I'm just saying. Did he just take a shot? Phone lines will be open, 646-832-3909. Free Kick Friday here on Soccer Morning, backheel.com. Be right back.
Welcome to Soccer Morning. Here's your host, Jason Davis.
All right, so here's the situation. It being Friday, we thought we'd take a lot of phone calls. That's also, look, we had a lot of guests this week. We had some really excellent guests. We had 2 guests yesterday. We had 2 guests on Wednesday. It's been one of those weeks. It's been good. Call software not working. The service we use to take phone calls decided to break today. I literally cannot bring it up. So I apologize for that. We have no way to take phone calls. Literally impossible for me to take phone calls on the air. That being said, we are probably going to have to truncate today's show. I mean, you really don't want me padding for 40 minutes. That's just not something that you probably want. So it's either I get up and start dancing, which is not going to happen, or we just briefly touch on a couple of the things that have come up this morning before we wrap this up. And if you want to chime in, obviously we can't take phone calls, but the best way to do so is on Twitter, @SoccerMorning, @DavisJSN. One thing that's happened, I don't know if Taylor Twellman was insulting me or insulting the guy, but apparently there's a discussion going on this morning on Twitter about whether or not baseball is faster paced than soccer, and I want to put my head through a brick wall when I think about that argument. So I said something on Twitter, about how, come on, that's a ridiculous argument. I'm not really hating on Taylor or anybody else who picked it up. I'm just saying, come on. It doesn't even matter quantitatively if one is slower than the other. Sports are about individual preference. Sports about anything in life. I mean, forget sports. I like this kind of music. You're probably going to hate that kind of music. What does it matter? Anyway, look, soccer fans have to keep themselves in check when it comes to arguing stupid stuff. But we also know that Americans like to hate on soccer for ridiculous reasons. There's not enough scoring. It's too slow. It's boring, et cetera, et cetera. And I remain convinced, and I've said this for years, as part of my own soccer awakening, you come to realize that you get out what you put in. You come to realize that the intricacies, the culture, the sequences, whatever it is, the talent that's involved, the teamwork that's involved, the processes that are involved in any sport, soccer, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, curling, okay? You can find the beauty and the interest in every sport if you know the sport. The thing that people who don't know soccer miss, the new fans, or the people who are against the idea of soccer because they've watched 10 minutes of a game before, or because in their mind they're closing off the possibility that it could be interesting, what they miss more than anything else, and I think this is true, and if I did some empirical research, maybe I could prove it. I'm not a scientist. What I think they miss is that the goal, and I'm not going to say goals are overrated. That's not what I'm going to say. But the goal is only one element of the entertainment value of a soccer match. When you watch a soccer, perfect example, right? And we do this all the time. And I admit that I know I'm the one beating the dead horse. I'm the soccer fan getting overly excited. I'm the soccer fan getting defensive. But that Dortmund-Bayern goalless game on Saturday in the Bundesliga, if you watched any of that game, you know that it does not matter there were no goals, because that game was fun. That game was entertaining. That game had quality. Things happened in that game. Just because the scoreline said 0-0 doesn't mean things didn't happen in that game. And here's a perfect comparison. And I'm a baseball guy. I grew up on baseball. I grew up obsessed about baseball. Okay, from the time I knew what a baseball was, I was obsessed with that sport. I can take massive joy out of a 1-0, 0-0, 2-1 baseball game, because guess what guess what that means? 90 times out of 100. That means it was an incredibly well-pitched baseball game. And damn it, I like good pitching. Now, a lot of people say, that's boring. There's no hitting? You mean they just swing and miss all the time and there's a bunch of strikeouts and, oh, look, that pitcher got through, 8 innings with giving up 0 earned runs and 2 hits. How is that possibly fun? I mean, for a baseball fan, that's fun. You don't have to like it. There's no requirement that says you have to understand why baseball is great when it's 0-0. Just like there's no requirement for anti-soccer people to understand it. This is what they miss. This is the truth. Anyway. All right. So there's that. Let's have that argument. Bo on Twitter. Baseball's selling point is the languid atmosphere. Go outside, have good food and beer, watch on occasion. Yeah, okay. But Bo, that's the thing. As a baseball person, I was always engaged in the game. Now, if you go to the game, it's a little bit of a different experience than watching on television, clearly. But I was always engaged. Like, I used to tell this story to people. One of the few things that my brother and I are very different people. I love my brother to death. One of my best friends. Was my best friend. Still is, I guess. But he lives on the other side of the country. And one of the things that kept us in contact with each other was baseball. And one of the things that we did, an expression of our baseball fandom, was actively watch a game on television and text each other why we thought that what the manager was doing was stupid. Or how he should have made this pitching change. Or this double switch. Or done a hit and run. Or whatever the situation was. I mean, we knew baseball well enough to think that we thought we knew better than the manager. Of course we didn't. But that was the kind of active watching experience. And it's the same thing for soccer. It's a 90-minute match. First of all, it's less of a time commitment, so let's just say that. It's a 90-minute match. It's not that hard to pay attention for 90 minutes. And if you do, look, there are boring games. Of course there are. But most of the time, even a 0-0 game, even a boring game, even a game that doesn't produce a whole lot, still has moments in it. The near miss, the chance. I mean, how many times have you seen a good soccer team put together an intricate movement, 5-6 passes, or move the ball from back to front on the ground the entire way, create something magical, and the finish isn't there? The ball goes wide on the shot, or the keeper makes an incredible save. That's not going to show up on the score line. It's not. It's not a goal. It doesn't count. You're not going to put. There's no way for somebody who didn't watch the game to understand that moment is the entertainment moment. That moment is the engaging moment. That moment is the beauty of the sport. All right. Let's see. Joshua, if you reduce basketball to only dunks and said no points unless you dunk, that's what people feel of soccer. Nothing exciting except the goals. And they're wrong, right? They're wrong. All right, anyway. The other thing is that there's more leaks on the potential USA jersey, the home shirt. And speaking of baseball, it looks a little bit like a pair of baseball sleeves, doesn't it? Everybody, if you play baseball at all, I mean, I don't even know if these are popular, but the style anymore. You know the style shirt I'm talking about, right? White, the torso's all white, but the sleeves are a color. Black, red, blue, whatever. That's what this looks like to me. And actually, I'm not totally against it. Now, I remain convinced there needs to be a stable look for the United States men's national team, but this isn't bad. It's really not. And actually, the new badge looks pretty good on this shirt. Have you seen this, Trevor? It's on footyheadlines.com if you're looking for it. It's not bad. I mean, I don't know. It's another change, and it'll go away in 2 years. But hey, all right. Retro Gamer Dad says I'm the only one that kind of likes it. I do. I kind of like it. And Alexi wants to know what we're arguing about. Nothing, Alexi. We're not arguing about anything. We're all good. The soccer world is united right now. We're all getting along. We're all friendly. We're all great. We have a good show coming up on SiriusXM FC later on today. If you have a subscription, if you don't, you should consider one. SiriusXM FC channel 85 is worth the subscription price by itself, but then you get everything else. I mean, speaking of sports, football, baseball, basketball, channels 24 hours a day on those things, obviously, the NHL, music channels up and down the spectrum, obviously talk. I don't know why I'm just trying to get you guys to listen to that show and to all the other stuff we have over there. And what else? Yeah. All right, so that's it. I mean, I got nothing, guys. I got no call software. Let me check it one more time, just to be sure. We thought about like cold dialing people, just picking up the phone and dialing a couple of numbers, going through the old cell phone, saying, "Oh, look here, I got." Speaking of the devil, I got Taylor Twellman's phone number. Let's give him a call. But now that's an invasion of privacy. Taylor's not ready to go on the air. Who else? Who else could I call? Sean Francis. I don't know why this is why this is funny to me. But we could call some people. Anyway, not going to do that. We will wrap this edition of Soccer Morning up. Again, apologies for the truncated show. Call software crapped out on us. Nothing else we could do about it. We have a bunch of good games coming up this weekend. Just how about this very briefly? We'll go over the MLS schedule, and I'll pick out a couple of games that are worth watching. I mentioned in the open with the news some notable injuries. Kaká's going to miss out again, which is unfortunate for Orlando City. You got Orlando hosting Chicago. That game's tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern on Unimas. New England, DC United tomorrow, RSL in Seattle. That's a good one. Montreal hosting the Red Bulls. Colorado hosting the Galaxy. No Giovanni Dos Santos. And I just wrote something on Colorado. I'm fascinated by that team for the bad reasons. The bad reasons that they have a third-year head coach who has less than 20 wins to his name over 2 years. They've got a technical director who's sort of mitigating the pressure on his coach, saying, "Oh yeah, it's an important year, and blah, blah, we're going to keep Pablo around." Is that a vote of confidence? I mean, come on, you're entering a new season. You don't think you're going to fire him 3 games in, but I imagine there's got to be some sort of leash with the Rapids. They're getting Jermaine Jones into the mix. That's kind of an interesting new dynamic. Columbus, Philadelphia, Houston, FC Dallas, Sporting Kansas City, Vancouver, NYCFC against Toronto should be fun. That could be a 10-goal game. I mean, for all of those doubters out there who say that soccer doesn't have enough scoring, trust me when I say this, get them in front of a television, turn on ESPN2 at 5 o'clock on Sunday, because NYCFC and Toronto are going to produce some goals. San Jose and Portland closing it out on Sunday night. All right, that's good. That's a good way to wrap this up. Again, appreciate you guys and your patience with us on a Friday. You know, what can you do? Sometimes the technology doesn't cooperate. We will be back on Monday, talk about all that MLS, Premier League, FA Cup, everything else that's happening in the world of soccer. We'll see you then. Bye.